molar mass tomorrow, and all they give you is a formula, what's the only thing you have to do? Add them. You just have to add them together. Don't try and picket fence something that doesn't need to be picket fenced. Are we all right with that? Okay, I'm going to move this right here. That's probably super loud. All right. So NaIO3, what did it add up to be? 198 grams per 1 mole. Do you remember when you add these things, it gives you per mole? You need to know that. MgSO4, 120 grams per 1 mole. One of these two is on the test. All right? There's 3 questions on the test that ask you to find the molar mass of something that just gives you the formula. That should not be hard. That's 10% of the math on this test. Those aren't hard. Now there's more. Did we talk at all about dilutions yesterday? We did? Find of, multiply, divide. Are you okay with that? No? Here you go. This is for half the class, wasn't here yesterday. Multiply, pair, and divide by the loner. The pair is connected by the letter or the word of. So anyone that wasn't here yesterday, take your lab books out and look at the very back page. And great job. All 3 of you were really important today. And Karen. James would not have been the same without you on his back every time something exciting happened. All right. Was the game plan to play Bonneville as scary close as we did? Like, let's only win by 7.
I feel like we kind of dominated that. Yeah, we dominated.
I watched that
The
game.
score didn't show it, but I feel like they didn't really do anything.
They had 100 more yards than we did. That's a full football field.
They didn't really. Well, then our offense didn't do very good, but I felt like.
Word.
Except for Dylan and Carter, they did good.
Dylan had an MVP.
But we didn't let them get very far.
We almost let him score a touchdown, but Porter Hodgson picked the ball off and returned it to the 40. I'm pretty sure if you don't make that, they score and we poop our pants and lose.
Yeah, no.
I've seen Box Elder poop his pants before. Not pretty. All right. Multiply, pair, divide by loner.
But that's why Coach Gunter loves us so much. He started crying in the locker room.
Because you're
He
not
loves
pants
us
poopers.
so much. And he said we didn't. He said, multiply something, please.
Would have pooped their pants.
Yes. And then he said we didn't. And
Thank
that's why he
you.
loves us.
Good. 61, 2, 3, 4, and 5 if you were gone yesterday. Find the 2 numbers connected by the word of. Multiply them. And divide by the one that isn't. That's literally all you have to do. That's it. For a dilution, okay, put in your notes that that's for dilution.
Oh, it's how would you prepare it?
We didn't really worry about it. You would just add 5. We don't care right now.
Wait, so you multiply the numbers with
Of, and divide by the one not of. Okay, here we go. So that's as much time as I'm spending on dilutions. But did I warn you about the number 1? Okay, look, tomorrow you're going to multiply pair, and you're going to divide by loner, and the answer is going to be 1. And you're going to select 1. You're going to fill in the bubble, and it's going to be wrong. Because your math is going to tell you 1 liter, but you're going to bubble in the bubble that says 1 milliliter. 1 liter is really 1,000. Remember that tomorrow. Calculator says 1, it really means 1,000 on that multiple choice. Okay, let's just review like I did for every other hour now. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to clear all this crap out. Concentrate on this too to clear that one out, actually. You can tell the very moment during my prep hour that I was interrupted by a student that stayed here the entire prep hour. Former student. It says, first off, who thinks, by the way, that they know how to do all of them, they just get confused on which one to do which thing with. Okay, that's everyone's problem. So we have to think through it to figure out what it wants. They're not hard. Like the first question says, what is the molarity? So you would solve that by using the process for molarity, right? It will tell you what to use, but that doesn't mean you're still perfect at it. Okay, so here you go. A couple little clues of advice here. You use the picket fence for molarity, moles, and grams. And then it says do not use the picket fence for percent, part per million, or dilution.
And you use the Tom's.
These are the Tom circles.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Tom circles. Well, dilution isn't a Tom circle. That's the of and then divide.
Are you going to give us the Tom circle?
We're going to do that on this next slide. Are you ready? On your periodic table, you have all the equations, but I'm going to let you add the circle. I've been saying no for years, but I'm just going to finally do it, and I'm purposely going to line that up. There are 2 of them. All right, so we have, blue sounds great. One is for percent and one is for parts per million, right? So percent concentration, we have solute, we have percent, and then we have solution. I know you can't read it, but I tried.
Solute is the solid.
Yep.
And what's the one that if you give us the name, that's what it is?
The solute is the thing I named.
And then the bottom left is solution.
Yeah. And that will always be the word, solution. Like, it will tell you. There is one that you have to add, but we said yesterday, if you don't add, you're still going to get it right because it's the same math answer. Remember that? It was 15 over 4,000, or 15 over 4,015, and they round out to the same exact answer. Okay, parts per million, you have milligrams on top. If you want, you can write the whole thing, milligrams. You have kilogram on the bottom, and you have ppm, which means parts per million. You can write those on your periodic table. It's on the inside. On the left is where all the equations are. I don't care if you put the circles there, but that's where all the other equations were written. Take about 60 seconds more. Go ahead.
Is it ever going to mess you up and give you like
Yes.
2 with kilograms or
No.
switch them or anything like that?
No. But it,
You'll always have milligrams or kilograms?
no.
Oh.
It might give you this in grams,
Oh, okay.
and then it might give you this in grams.
So how do you know which one goes to milligrams and which one goes to kilograms?
It'll be pretty easy because the solute, once again, is named. And this one would say in a sample. Like it wouldn't. So if you have grams,
And I guess the solution has to be more than the solute.
I wish everyone would figure that out. Like I've said it, but yeah. Okay. You can use those. If you don't know how to use them, that's fine. It's just algebra. Use the equation that's written on the left and plug it in and see what you can do. It's not the hardest thing we've done. Okay, now, molarity. How many of you have forgotten the picket fence because you sprung a leak in your ear while I was shoving something in your other ear? Anybody? Okay, it's pretty common. Your brains, they need space, and they run out of space. In molarity, okay? Now, I've said a ton about molarity. This is the most concise way I can think to put it. If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. But when you solve for molarity, you have no loner. It's the only one that doesn't have a lone thing in the top left. Everything else does. Okay, PF means picket fence. You set up the picket fence with the given grams on the top and the given volume on the bottom. And then you eliminate grams by using the hidden proportion, then solve. The hidden proportion always means what? No. Molar mass. Molar mass is grams per mole. You have to realize anytime you see a a formula, it really is a number, is it not? We're going to use NABR on like 5 consecutive problems, so don't say it out loud. Someone find it, everyone find it to make sure you know how to find what sodium bromide is. It's not used on the test, but we're just practicing. Right. All right, now, here we go. It says set up the picket fence with the given grams on the top and the given volume on the bottom. You always start on the left with what I give you. What numbers did I give you? 15 grams per 300 milliliters. So it says what on top? 15 grams, 0.3 liters. Okay? Remind me of this thing in a second. 0.3 liters. Now, why did I not put 0.3 liters over 15 grams? Okay, because A, I told you to, and B, liters is on the bottom of the answer, so I need to have it on the bottom of the problem. All right, now, what did NABR end up at? 103 grams per 1 mole. Okay, what comes down here? The 103 grams, what goes on the top? 1 mole. Please, my friends. This unit always is the same as that unit. That's why we're doing it. It's the key that drives this entire thing. All right, this star right here is to make sure you do math correctly. I would do this. I would put 15, and then I would multiply these two numbers. And what do you get? What's that?
30,900.
No. 30.9.
Well, yeah, if you change it to liters. Yeah.
And then I would divide. The reason why is every year, at least 5 out of 30, whatever, they'll do it wrong. They'll multiply the bottom and then divide by the top. That's upside down, right? If you're smart and you know how your calculator works, do that and then hit the 1 over button. But most people have no idea what I just said. Does anyone know what I just said? You got 2 people that understand the 1 over function. Oh. All right. Well, I'll explain. This is liter right here, right? And you're not alone. I know you're not alone. This is a liter. So can I have milliliters in my problem? I can't. So how many times do I move the decimal for a milliliter? What does an M look like sideways? I move it 3 places, right? So I went like this, 1, 2, 3. And so I went 1, 2, 3, or 0.3 liters. Does that help? Okay. All right. You do this, it's around 0.5, right? I think it's 0.48. Okay. That's the key to molarity. Let's do another one. Ignore that the answers are right there. Ignore that my eraser isn't working. There we go. Says you have 100 grams of this in that. What's its molarity? Hurry fast and do it. Was it 0.46? I can't remember. It was, right? Okay. Raise your hands if you had 0.46. Keep them up if it's not just because it was already written. I don't. It was a poorly asked question. All right. That's it. We're not going to do molarity anymore. I hope you're okay with it. What? What? That's next. That's next. Okay. One last question though. Marky, do you know where the 1.7 came from? Okay. Perfect. Good timing, right? Good timing. All right. Here we go. Hey, how about we practice one with 3? All right. This is absolutely on the test, yes. They're not bad. Really, if you pay attention to me today, these will be your favorite. Because there's a trick to these where you don't actually have to do anything. So here we go. If you're solving 4 grams, so you're going to be asked to find the grams. Oh, come on. Oh, I'm in white, that's why. You're asked to find grams, and it gives you the molarity. Okay? Please.
Start off with. Is
What's that?
that what you start off with?
No.
On the very left?
No, we'll go through it. So when given molarity and asked for grams, the given volume in liters will be the loner, and the molarity is a proportion because, remember, molarity is moles per liter, aka that's a proportion. All right? The other proportion will be the hidden proportion, aka the molar mass in grams per mole. We already did this. It was 103 grams per 1 mole, right? All right, now, we'll come back to the parentheses here in a minute. So what did I tell you to start with? The loner. So look right here. 1.8 capital M is really 1.8 what? Moles per 1 liter. You have to remember that capital M is moles per liter. All right, so really, this is a proportion, right? This is a proportion, so that has to be your loner. Correct? And we start with the loner. So, 500 milliliters is really 0.5 liters. Then, everything else is going to take care of itself. What am I solving for? You're right. I almost wrote moles per liter again. Grams. All right. Do I want liters in my answer then? No. So what has to go on the bottom? All right. For every 1 liter, I have 1.8 moles. Do I want moles in my answer? No. So I put moles down here. For every 1 mole, I have. All right, 103 grams. So what do you do here math-wise? You multiply all 3 numbers. Does that make the parentheses make sense? Look, there's no ifs. This is an always. Now, you got to make sure you read the question, right? But write this sentence. If you're taking any notes at all, write this to yourself. No, but you can sure use them to study like crazy tonight, which I know that most of you aren't even going to do.
Do you and Bert plan to test on
Yeah, we do. We go out, we get some Mountain Dew, he gets Pepsi, and we just sit in our car and laugh at how to screw your lives over. But remember,
It's basically what you
I was going to test you today.
and Rollins.
Yeah, we invite Rollins, but he gets water. Boring. Just kidding, he drinks pop now. It's Miller. One time we brought Miller a drink, and he left it for 2 days and then drank it. He's like, well, I don't like carbonation. I'm like, well, just tell me you don't want to drink next time. He drank 2-day-old Sprite.
So he just doesn't like the bubbles?
The bubbles make it feel better.
Flat Sprite.
Exactly. I don't know. You're weird. Moving on. Here we go. Look.
Bring him an apple juice.
I should have. This is what you're going to write. Are you ready? When asked 4 grams, so start there. When asked 4 grams, are you ready for the rest? And given molarity, man, Hodgson, you could teach this crap. You could be a DB coach,
What coach?
defensive back coach, safeties. When Robinson brought all you guys over and sat you on the bench and was yelling at you, I realized we have the smallest safety / DB crew I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Way to represent. All right. So, when asked for grams, given molarity, just multiply the 3 numbers. Make sure and write the number 3. Now, the reason why, underline 3, emphasize that 3. It's important. Because look, how many numbers does the problem give you? It only looks like 2 numbers, right? So you're like, ooh, hey, I know this is just 0.5 times 1.8. I'm wrong. You're wrong. This, remember, a formula in your mind has to trigger the fact that it is a number. Okay? So molarity, solving for grams, given molarity, can seem hard. And it sort of is complicated. But in the long run, you're multiplying every number I give you in the sentence. Are you ready? Hold on. Pretend you can't see any of this right here. Good. I wrote it in red just so Shaw couldn't see it. I was so stressed I blew that last call that I watched Huddle this morning just to see if I was right.
What call?
The sack fumble. I said it right. No one was listening anyway.
I was getting stretched out, and then Burgrack rips me off the table. You're in. I'm like, what just happened? I don't even know what happened. I'm like, everybody's like jumping around. Coach Gunner's on the ground.
Yeah, he got jacked.
I lean over to someone. I'm like, what just happened? They fumbled it. I'm like, okay.
I'm going to turn the mic off. Okay. It was pretty funny. Are we done yet? Or were you distracted by my great story?
Oh, I didn't know we were supposed to do that.
Yeah, you were getting stretched.
Wait, what did Jesse say?
He just laughed. He's like, you're right. He's like, who is that? He's like, Yudi.
I don't think Jesse likes me anymore. Now that Connor's gone. He just likes Connor.
He is a huge Connor fan.
I don't know why.
Wow. You're not a very huge brother fan?
What?
You don't like your brother?
I like him.
Okay, I'm going to move on in 30 seconds. Goldman, you feel all right about these now?
Yes. I just wanted to practice. Make sure I.
128 times point constant 128. Yes, it is.
It's the same one we did before. Did we already do this one? We did this one, right? Well, the molar, we already did C10H8, right?
I'm sorry that I let you make such
I don't remember. What's the answer? You're the best. 0.8?
Okay.
Wrong?
Go on.
What'd you get?
Freaking 0.47.
Okay. This is it for that. I don't know. We got to review that more. Okay? So, if it asks for molarity, it's the plus sign with something everywhere. If it asks for grams given molarity, multiply the three numbers and move on with your life. Now, I got to be honest. The test is it's not tricky. It's a teeny bit weird. It's 32 math questions, but can you do 32 picket fences that fast?
No.
Oh, not even the smartest people in here can. And I know that. So, like, the first question asks for molarity, but it's really the first four questions because it says A, or number one, what's the unit of the answer? Well, what's the unit for molarity? Moles per liter. So you would bubble that in. B says, what are the proportions? Well, it's just the proportions. C says, how would you set it up? So that's that. And the next one would be your answer. You with me? So there's probably...
Counter this bubble.
These are the proportions. It's bubble. Okay. It would be that.
Like 1.2 over 1.
Yeah. Moles per liter. Grams per liter.
Okay, so there's really probably only 10 total math questions on it.
How many questions?
There's 46. 32 from this section, and the rest of them are review. 44, I'm sorry. Review. Like, for instance, using your periodic table, answer the following questions about element with yada yada. So what period, what family, does it bend, does it break, is it shiny?
Is there any way to go past?
There is zero vocab on this one. All right, next. Okay, we got to move on. We have 10 minutes to do about a half hour's worth of review. All right. Okay, please. Shh. This isn't that bad. Moles to grams or grams to moles. There's 5 of these, and they're the easiest. Well, they're not easy, but they're the shortest picket fence. So don't miss them. For freak's sakes, don't get them wrong. Start the picket fence with the number and unit I give you. Watch this. Do this. 3 moles. Moles. Just do that before you do anything. Write down what I gave you and then match the unit on the top and the bottom. Why? Because that's what you have to cancel out, right? So what would I put here?
6.5 grams.
Now look, has anyone ever known something then been asked to do math and then you forget what you were going to do after you did the math?
Yes.
We all have. Because math was made to screw with our minds. So, look, you're going to have to find NABR.
103.
That's 103. But that you had to do that, right? If you already have it, you already know what order it goes in. Where does the 1 go? With the moles, what goes on the top then? $309 grams. Now, down here, we got to find NABR. 103 grams per mole. All right, well, grams are there, so what goes down here? I don't remember. We can do those, right? Like, it's always sad to me, someone that gets all the hard ones right, and then they're like, Yeah, they get 3 in a row wrong. You're like, hey, dipshiz. Hey, friend, you had to do that in the other problem. Like, it was the start of the long ones that you got right. Sorry about that, internet world. All right, look. Crap, I was going to say something sort of important. I can't remember. Oh, it's this slide. Wow. Here we go. Have I made you write this down?
Yes.
Mole's always a small answer, grams equal a big answer.
What do you mean?
Thank you. What does that even mean? Look right here. So write it down, and then let's go to the previous slide. And this is going to help you realize if you did it wrong. It's like your check. You're like, okay, I probably did it right. Or my, oh crap, I did it wrong. So let's go back to the previous slide. And I'll scroll. Grams, I said big, right? Moles, I said small. This is what I mean. When you solve for grams, your answer must be bigger than you're given. And that makes sense. You're multiplying. When solving for moles, you get small answers, and it must be smaller than you're given because you divide. So listen, tomorrow when you go to bubble in that you got 200 moles, don't do that. Think, wait a second, he told me moles had to be small, which means that you've had the thing the wrong way. And you multiply instead of divided. Why is everyone laughing at me?
I don't know.
I'm trying to save your life.
I thank you very much. Can I take the test on Friday?
Why?
Because I was in here yesterday.
You're going to get dumber between now and Friday.
Good point.
Like, I'm not being mean, but everybody. Thank you.
Because I feel a lot dumber than I was. 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's gone. Okay, listen now. The rest of the class, hour, 5 minutes. I'll tell you as much as I can from the test. Now, this is probably online, the test blueprint. It might not be, actually. I don't know if I ever did. 1 through 4 we already did. It's a molarity question where 1 asks for the unit, 2 asks for the proportions, 3 asks for the proper setup, and 4 asks for the answer. Now, this might be a little confusing right this second, but look. If you know the units of your answer, you can figure out the proportions set up to get that unit. This will tell you the proportions that you needed, and that will tell you your answer. If you're a really keen tester, no knowledge is required, because the answer to question number 1 will tell you how to set up. You see a graph right here? Caden? Kids aren't excited when they see graphs. It's not hard. There is no chemistry knowledge required. One of the questions asks you what time of day this thing points to the highest point. So you find the height and you go down and figure out it's at 6:30 in the morning. Another one asks, like, what you like this? If you get this test, every line is already drawn. It's just graph reading. Now, yeah, the units are part per million, but they literally have nothing to do with science. It's just reading a graph. Next page. 9, 10, and 11 ask you to calculate the molar mass of the following compound. That's where you just add the pieces. 12 through number 16. 12 through 16 was the simple ones. 12 through 16 was just simply this. Okay? Moles or grams, given grams or moles. Put your plus sign, do it every time. Put your plus sign, put your unit given, and immediately write the unit given down there too. And then you would know, well, the other one has to be moles. Don't think, just do. Okay, next, 17 through 25 are percent compositions, or concentrations. Yeah, I showed you, not you two, I showed you every single one of those in order yesterday, did I not? I did. And we worked through all but one of them. They won't remember either, so you're fine. All right. Number, I'm already here. 26 and 27 are part per million. Use the circle because almost everyone gets this question wrong, and it's so freaking easy. I asked you for milligrams, giving you the other two. So what do? Multiply. But almost every single human on the planet divides. I vote. If you do that, I get to punch you in the face as hard as I can.
Wait, so whatever one you
All
give
in
us-
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. What?
No, what you're trying to find.
So whatever we're trying to find, we cover.
You cover this up, and you're left with kg times ppm. Next.
Your rotator cuff.
Don't pack up. All right, number 28 through 30 are on molarity again. We did that problem. Kind
What
of.
was it, 28 through 30?
Yeah. Well, we did that problem, but I gave you a different formula, so we kind of didn't do that problem. What are you going to do? Oh, listen. I got to warn you right now. Whew. My other classes, I forgot to warn you. There are 2 questions where the answer is 1. One of them is really what? 1,000. The other one is really 1. Like, it's not tricky if you read it. It's obvious which one is it. I feel like I've said enough. All right, then there was review. Ready? I have a minute left. The review asks about density. Do you want to write that circle on your periodic table too?
DMV.
Okay. I still have 10 seconds, I think.
Yeah, DMV. Yeah, Department of Motor.
Then there's a question on a compound or a mixture, then there's periodic table ones, then there's about salt on the road, and then there's one about the properties of solids.